and it started.
Hey guys, welcome to the The-Duel-Mafia. I have a deck profile here today for Skull Servants. This is my favorite deck. It's the one I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh with after like 7 years of not playing from when I was a little kid, and so it's just something I've been working on for a long time. And I'm going to go ahead and start with it. First off, you have 2 Skull Servant. A lot of people run 3, a lot of people run 2, but it's just up to your choices on it. It gets a little bit cloggy just to draw a Skull Servant and ruin your day, but it works at 2. Then your boss monster is King of the Skull Servant. You always run 3 of this guy, and he just gets 1,000 boosts from basically everything in the archetype. And so the most you can get up to is like 14,000, I think, in the deck. But typically, once you get up to 6,000, no one's getting over it. Also, when he's destroyed by battle, you can just banish a Skull Servant, which all of them become in the graveyard, and you can bring them right back out, which a lot of people don't bother reading, and it fucks them over. Then you got Lady in White, which is basically the queen of the deck. 2,200 booty, which is fantastic. Like, it's one of the biggest ones in the game, and people just end up running into it all the time. And while she's on the board, all level 3 or lower zombies except for herself are unaffected by spells and traps and can't be destroyed by battle. And so it really helps keep the king on board, and it helps, like, for those random times you run into Magic Cylinder with 14,000 attack, it won't do anything. So it really helps it. Then you have 2 white prints. A lot of people run 3 of this one, just like the Skull Servant, because they combo. Because when this is sent to the graveyard, any way, like Synchro Battle from your deck, it'll send a Lady in White and 1 Skull Servant from your deck to the graveyard, and that really gives your king the attack boost it needs. Also, you can banish this plus 2 Skull Servants, and you can just summon a king right from your deck. And all of the cards in the deck, or all the white princes and all the Lady in Whites, all of them become Skull Servant in the graveyard. Then you run 3 of this card. It's the most expensive Skull Servant. It's like $4 or $5 now, but he's a hand trap for the deck. You discard him during your turn only, but you can discard him to the grave to put a Skull Servant or a White Mare back in the graveyard, or you can discard him to the grave to summon a Lady in White or a king from banishment. And so that's really good, especially with Lure Darkness at 3. You'll banish a king and then immediately discard this guy and get king back out on board. And and this isn't once per turn, you can activate all 3 if you just banished all 3 with white prints. So that's pretty fantastic. And that's everything in the archetype. Then you have 3 of the best zombie in the game, Unizombie. This one you just can discard a zombie from your hand, or 1 card from your hand, increase any card's level by 1, and you can send a zombie from your deck, increase any card's level by 1, and then only attack with zombies for the rest of the turn. And the reason that's good is he's a tuner, and you tune like crazy with this deck. Like, I have synchros from 5 to 9 in the deck, and you just go into it all the time. And you want to open with him. And now that we have this new card, Shiranui Solitaire, you basically run 6 copies of Unizombie. Because you can tribute this card and immediately get Unizombie out from your deck. And then with Unizombie, you send Mizuki, banish to bring this back out, and you sync for 8. And you usually go for Omega or BLs. Then you run 3 Mizuki. Every zombie deck runs 3 Mizuki because it's a monster reborn that's not once per turn. And he's just fantastic. Also, every once in a while, you end up doing Mizuki Beatdown whenever both of you have terrible hands. 2 Max C, you really want to draw in the deck, and everyone in the format special summons, especially since Monarchs just got hit. So right now it's maining 2. You can side them out. 1 Effect Veiler, monster effects really get this guy because they're protected from everything except monster effects, so you want to have that ready. Now to the spells, that was all the monsters. We have 1 Foolish Burial. I wish this was at 2. I wish it was at 3, but it's good at 1. And you just send literally anything from the deck. 3 Burial from a different dimension. You're banishing all the time, so this just gets it all back. You love to see that in hand. I run Dark Hole. I have a Regeki, but I prefer Dark Hole in the deck because I've come into so many times where I need to set a White Mare or set a Mizuki and Dark Hole the field and then use Mizuki's effect. And I've tested it with Regeki, and it just doesn't work quite as well. Then I have 1 Upstart Goblin, just consistency, because the deck is a little bit slow, so you need something to keep going. One of my favorite cards, Mass Change 2. The amount of times that I can go into Dark Claw, shut down a deck, and then get a 6,000 beater on board next to him is just crazy. And you want to discard in the deck, so it's pretty nice. And again, with the discarding, you have Twin Twister, clear the back row, clear the scales. 1 for 1, everything important in the deck is a level 1, so you always want to see this too. Just newly unlimited, 3 Allure of Darkness. This has been helping the deck dig really well, and you don't really care if you banish because you main resources to get them back into your grave. So that one's really great. I'm very happy they did that. 2 Instant Fusion. Use Synchro a lot in the deck, so Norden's great, and then Thousand Eyes Restrict is a level 1, which you can overlay with, or you can sync with the Unizombie and a Solitaire to make Trish, which no one likes to see that. And then that was all the spells, and now for the traps we run 3. We have 1 Vanity's Emptiness, 1 Solemn Warning, and 1 Solemn Strike. You just don't want your opponent to special or use their effects. And that's everything for the main deck. Now onto the extra deck. We run 1 Restrict, 1 Norden. I love snatching my opponent's stuff and then overlaying so I can still use my battle phase, and Norden just brings Unizombie back, sync for a 7. Then my ulti Darklaw, my baby, wins games. And for the XZs, you have 1 Ghostrick Doulahan. He's just your overlay target for all your level 1s in the deck, and he can cut a monster's attack and defense in half during either player's turn, and so he's just a pretty nice thing to go into when you don't have much. Then the last 2 XZs are my 2 rank 4s, Castell and Bish Dweller. They're just kind of staples and things that are easy enough to go into that you just run them. Then we have the Synchros, which is the biggest part of the extra deck. We have, for our level 5, we have Catastor. Just get rid of anything that's not dark, and there's times that it's just perfect to go into. 1 Coral Dragon. It's really nice because you can go first turn, Unizombie, activate both its effect, get them to level 5, banish Mizuki, bring a White Prince out, sync again. After you summon this, and then banish or discard a Mizuki, sync again, and you get the draw off. And so Coral Dragon is a really great card that just came out. 1 Black Rose Dragon, just because it's easy enough to go into the deck and it clears boards, and sometimes that's all you need. Black Rose of field, Mizuki, bring out a 10,000 King, swing for game. 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon, just one of the best ranks or level 7s in the game, I think, for synchros, and it's nice to be able to negate stuff. 1 Psyframe Lord Zeta, he just tags out, and that helps me a lot, just be able to tag out somebody's monster and then swing really hard into him. And then for our rank 8 or level 8s, we have Shiranui Shogun Saga. He's just only in there because he is a zombie, so after you use Unizombie's second effect, you can only attack with zombies, so sometimes it's nice if they're really low on life to sync out, get this guy, use his effect to banish Mizuki, make him 47, and swing really hard into somebody, and that's just a nice way to push the game further. 1 BLs, the Diabolic Dragons. This card, just some decks can't get around it very easily if they can't make rank 4s or if they just don't have non-destruction type removal. It's just nice. You can sit on it in defense and just wait it out. And it's gotten a little bit worse now that a lot of banishing effects are going on, a lot of bouncing and stuff, but it's still a nice card. I think you should definitely run it if you can go into it. Then the best rank 8, Psyframe Lord Omega. This card is fantastic. I wish I had a second one, but for 50 bucks, I'm happy with just one. And basically during your opponent's standby phase, you can target one of your banish cards and put it back in the grave, which you need in zombies, just recycle that Mizuki. And then during either player's main phase, you can banish this card and 1 card in your opponent's hand and just tag out for the turn until your standby phase. And so that just helps break your opponent's plays up. And then for the last synchro, we got 1 Trishula. This deck is Trish City. You're just going to go into it very often. And you can usually have a Unizombie on board, use his effect, bring Sling out, then Instant Fusion to Thousand Eyes, take their monster, sync for this, and banish another monster on their board. And so it's just a great way to get everything out. So I hope this deck profile helped you guys figure out how to play Skull Servants, because they're a little bit harder to get right, and I think I've made the deck work for what it is. So thanks you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you later.